Hey everyone, it's Ian from the Postal Hub podcast.
And Marek from Last Mile Experts.
And we are the Last Mile Prophets. And news recently broke that Amazon is acquiring autonomous vehicle startup Zoox for an eye-watering figure. I mean, these figures get bandied around, Marek, just boggle my mind. I think it was $1.2 billion. Anyway, I don't know. It's just
I wish we had a deal maker's margin on that deal. It's incredible, isn't it?
I know we're not going to talk about Amazon so much today, though, because this is sort of a pointer. Why would Amazon, ostensibly an e-commerce retailer, be interested in an autonomous vehicle startup? Not so long ago, they bought buy or invest in whatever it was, Rivian, the electric vehicle manufacturer. And of course, that was after they already bought 10,000 vans from Mercedes-Benz for their delivery service partners, or whatever they're called over there in the USA. So what's this really mean, mate? Go on.
Yeah, I thought because I said they bought, because I thought you were thinking about Kiva, which was the one a couple of years ago, which was the warehouse robots. So they've invested a lot of money in this space.
Yeah, so they're not going to do that just for fun, just to make Amazon look interesting. So I don't think they're fattening it up to be bought by somebody else, are they? So what's really happening here? I mean, we've written about this in the past, about autonomous delivery vehicles, whether it's the small robots like the ones from Starship or whoever, whether there are other ones by various other companies. We've written about trials done by PostNord. I'm sorry, guys, in Norway that I don't pronounce it properly, but you know who I'm talking about, the Norway Post. So where are we really heading with this, Marek? Is this money well spent, or is it money that's being, I won't use a crude term, but just thrown away?
First of all, Ian, your first question was, what's it all about? Well, I'll tell you what it's about. In my view, it's about the last mile, which is great because it's pretty relevant to us. So I think they've realized that given the issues with capacity, they need to do something. We discussed a while ago why robots like the Starship one or Cleverons one or whoever else, however smart they are, have a challenge, because however smart the machine is, I cannot imagine you've got hundreds of these machines on the pavement in downtown New York.
Well, that's number one, the scale, and number two has to be what they call the last foot.
Absolutely. Well, also, I think there are some that are now capable
of ringing doorbells.
Yeah, managing stairs. Doorbells are easy because you can do that automatically via an app. But you still have the issue, even if they can get up the stairs, how do they get to your front door if you're on floor number 30?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
anyway.
There's issues there. Then very quickly, without going into all of them, there's issues. So if it doesn't go along the pavement, does it go on a cycle path? If it goes on the cycle path, you're going to have a lot of very upset cyclists.
Oh, cyclists aren't like that. No.
Well, my son's a cyclist, and he gets rather upset if someone's in his way.
Yeah, I know. I've heard all about it. People using cycling paths inappropriately, or the lack of cycling paths. So I don't think cyclists, are having fought so hard to get cycling paths, would then be very happy if little robots started popping up on them. So
and Ian, and the last one is the roads. Just very quickly, because
that's where I was coming to with this, because this is not this particular startup is one that will be driving on the road, isn't it?
Exactly. And whereas the small robot driving at 10, 15 kilometers an hour could be a real issue, this thing, as I understand it, is effectively an autonomous car or van that can drive in the same way, probably more safely than the average driver will in their vehicle.
So the vehicle, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Zoox, it's very much similar to what Waymo has been doing, and all the companies are investing in. Ford has been pumping money into autonomous vehicles, and all of them. I would love to be able to just hop in an autonomous vehicle and drive places. So please, everybody, don't think that I'm putting autonomous vehicles in the same basket as drones, okay? Because you don't hear me say autonomous vehicles are stupid. I just say drones are stupid. And I am at least consistent. But when it comes to the delivery side of things, I still see there are a couple of hurdles for the entire sector to get over. And there's a reason why there's so much money being pumped into it at the moment, because it's not a cheap problem to solve. It's that there is a huge amount of computing power required, a huge amount of sensing is required for these vehicles to be able to traverse the streets safely, even if they are vacant streets and they don't have people who drive like me on the streets.
What's interesting, I think, about this one, Ian, is that they started with, if I remember correctly, it's about $1 billion investment a couple of years back. And they've gone, the full hog. They've designed every element of this AGV to be optimized for an autonomous vehicle. And that's interesting. Second thing, we mentioned Waymo, but who's behind Waymo? Google. So the arch rival and potential competitor for Amazon in the e-commerce space. So I reckon that's why they've gone into it. How could they use it? And I think you alluded to it perfectly in when you said, you just hop in. I was thinking about these hop on, hop off tourist buses. And if you think about it, this vehicle would be perfect. You have somebody who doesn't even need a driving license. They sit in the passenger seat. The vehicle stops at the absolute optimal location for him to deliver. So he's got the shortest distance to the door that he wants to reach or the parcel locker he wants to reach, drops him off, parks in a safe place, waits for him. When he's ready, either stays where it's parked or moves to a suitable location as close as possible. Wow. Can you imagine how that will revolutionize?
Well, I think that the USPS Office of Inspector General did some research on this a couple of years ago and came up with a few different models of how autonomous vehicles could be used in last mile delivery. One was very similar to what you've just said, that it doesn't, because right now there's a problem for parcel delivery drivers, they have to park somewhere, or if they don't park, they're parking illegally, and that can be unsafe. Whereas, the vehicle could go off and park, the driver can get out with two parcels for the same street, deliver one, deliver second, and the vehicle's waiting for him at the second address. Potential uses for automatic refills. So this is another issue, if you've got a capacity limit. Of course, you've got a capacity limit, but the vans have a finite capacity. The van can auto-replenish, if that makes sense, while the driver's out delivering.
I think there's a lot of benefits because, you can start with the fact that in a time where there is an issue with getting last mile delivery people, this van doesn't require a driving license. So frankly, you can take anyone, which is really cool. It makes it a lot more flexible in terms of finding the labor. Secondly, let's be very honest, last mile is very stressful. And one of the, I would imagine, most stressful elements in a place like London, Paris, or New York is driving around and trying to park.
Yeah.
So imagine how much stress is removed. People can focus. People, whilst it's driving, can even make a call.
Or prepare the next delivery, whatever they have to do. I mean, and this is something similar we've talked about when it comes to autonomous trucks that are working on line haul, the ability to do other work while you're in the cab. The problem remains for me is the sheer amount of computing power that you need and the cost for this. I mean, the cost has to come down because at the moment, well, if you're a delivery company and you look at autonomous vehicles in the last mile, what's the first thing that they're going to say? Well, how much does it cost? As opposed to throwing drivers at the problem, buying just regular internal combustion engine vehicles, whatever it's going to be, and all the driver churn problem that's such an issue for so many delivery networks. Because obviously you'd think that this would help reduce driver churn as well, but still the cost is there.
I caught you out on a little bit of legacy thinking here, because that's exactly the argument that some of the big legacy carriers use with regards to IT investments and interactive delivery management. Oh, it's going to be expensive and so on. First of all, yes, of course, if you're the first, it's going to be expensive. But once the technology is tested, the price, as it was the case with lockers, as was the case with IDM technology, will fall dramatically. And I think what these guys are about here is they want to be on the front line, they want to be in the avant-garde, and they want to be ready.
Well, we've only got a couple of seconds left, Marek, so I can't really respond to what you just said. So we're going to have to leave it at that. Everybody's going to think that I am a victim of legacy thinking. So comment below, does Ian suffer from legacy thinking? Or has he been taken out of context when he's only got a few seconds left before we have to close off this video? Comment below, what do you think about autonomous vehicles in the last mile? I'll be very interested to hear what everybody says. I know there are a lot of people with strong opinions on this. Marek Rojecki, managing partner at Last Mile Experts. Thanks for being part of the Last Mile Profits today.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, everyone. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode of The Last Mile Profits.
Make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button and also the notifications bell so you get a notification every time we add a new video to this channel. Look forward to sharing more stuff with you on The Last Mile Profits.